Man.
Hey. Jones. Bitches. Too much. All of that goddamn shit, player. Just ballin'. Continue. I'm so tired.
Hey. It's Black Friday, y'all. It's the Cave Cast. And we got a game today. And would you call Black Friday a holiday? I don't know. Mike, what about you?
Pretty much. I mean, at this point, might as well.
Here's my question. Would they really give you the day off in most places if it wasn't a holiday, right? So I'm just thinking, today, Black Friday, it's a holiday. They've made it a holiday. Commercially, they've made it a holiday. Simple as that. What's happening, everybody? I'm Big Temp. That's Big Mike. We are the Cave Cast. And if you didn't know, this is game day. Rivalry game day. Chiefs, Raiders. And man, you couldn't ask for a better day. The day after eating all the shit you wasn't supposed to eat if you was on a diet. All the cakes, cookies, the turkey, potatoes, sweet potatoes, stuffing, everything that you knew your fat ass wasn't supposed to be eating and you did it anyway. Trust me, I know the feeling because I did it too. So, with that being said, we want to jump right into this. We're going to make this a quick video today, quick content that we got for you guys. And it's kind of funny that, we're talking about this today because the last holiday that the Chiefs played the Raiders, it was pretty climactic for the Chiefs because after that loss, it was the last time the Chiefs lost for over 9 months. They kept a 15-game winning streak going into their last loss against Buffalo here. It happened a couple of weeks ago. And the one thing I will say is that I'm still waiting for this secret herbs and spices that Antonio Pierce supposedly had for this team. He's that guy that made the promise about how good the food was going to be. And then when he got to the cookout, the shit was trash. And he's like, well, I was missing something. Well, yeah, you're missing something, a lot of things. One thing he's going to be missing is his starting QB this week, probably for a long time. And that hurts him. That hurts him a lot. If y'all hear my dogs in the background, I've got a situation going on with 2 dogs that just don't know how to act. So don't mind them. So regardless, the problem with the Raiders right now is that they don't have a starting QB, not a real starting QB. So we have a situation where we are going into this with the advantage, especially at the QB position, which we were going to go into anyway, because no matter who was starting for them, we were going to be at the advantage at the QB position. But Aiden O'Connell, who will be starting for the Raiders today, is the last QB for the Raiders that actually did beat the Chiefs. And so I'm hoping that the Chiefs don't come out sluggish. I'm hoping that they don't come out and play down to their opposition, right, to their opponent. So I'm wanting to see a lot of fire, and we're playing at home, right? So we should be ready to go. We should be ready to go. I'm hoping that they didn't make any, like somebody didn't eat too much, last night or something like that.
And honestly, I think getting Pop and Omenihu back, I think that brings another element of, because they're gonna be fired up,
Yes,
so
that's gonna bring a lot of fire to that sideline. A lot of guys are gonna be ready. A lot of guys are hyped to see those guys back, especially Pop. A lot of guys are hyped to see Pop back. And hey, man, look, I'm ready to see Pop back. I know if I'm ready to see Pop back, I know the guys on the sideline gotta be. I'm ready to see Omenihu. I think he's going to add another, dimension to that defensive line. I think it's going to change a lot of stuff.
And I'm hoping we see more Uche this time.
We need to.
Man, you know what I noticed? The small amount of snaps that he played in that last game.
Yeah,
bro. Those were pressures, and they made the quarterback have to rush throws on top of that. Because he's so fast.
Very true.
So I'm looking to see him play a lot more this game. There's really no excuse at this point.
I think you're absolutely right. And I'm hoping that everybody understands that. Look, rivalry games are that for a reason. You play these teams more times than you play anybody else every season after season. And it's something special about those games, right? So I want everybody to be aware that this is not going to be just a pushover game. The Raiders are going to come out ready to play. They're going to come out ready to play. And you don't want to give them any kind of fire, any kind of momentum, let them think that they're in the game, give them a big play down the field, anything like that. So the Chiefs has got to understand that we've got to come out here and try to put our foot on their throats. And once we see an opening, we got to take advantage of it. That's as simple as it can get. Speaking of rivalry games, yesterday I watched one of the dumbest things happen in an NFL game by a head coach. And
he got fired.
He got fired today, as he should have.
He should have.
Matt Eberflus, I don't know what the hell you were thinking, but apparently you weren't thinking. As a head coach with one timeout left to go in the game and you're in field goal range and you have 30 seconds on the clock. Exactly. There is no reason whatsoever why you and your people on the sideline, all your coaches, nobody was saying, hey, look, we need a timeout. We have a chance here. How can you completely blow that game? Chicago Bear fan, I'm going to tell you right now, I feel bad for Chicago Bear fans right now because they have lived through this mediocrity, this horrible hell that the Chicago Bears continue to put out on the field by hiring bad coach after bad coach, bad pick after bad pick. Not always, but for the most part. They don't know how to build a team. And now that they finally have gotten some good young pieces, especially on that defense, and now they've gotten some good pieces on the offensive side.
They got some good pieces on offense too.
Yeah.
Like I like DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is very underrated.
They got some good pieces on that offensive side, and you were in the game. This is why I say rivalry games.
They tricked the game off.
They tricked that game off, and Matt Eberflus, good riddance. Because what he showed was his ineptitude to be able to take advantage of a situation or use his timeouts that he still had available to him and made a situation that was good into a bad situation by not being able to use his head and time management as far as being a coach goes. That was the best thing they could have did. They should have gotten rid of him. They should have gotten rid of him.
Is that like one of the bro, is that like one of the worst coaching moments in NFL history?
It might be.
Like, it's got to be top 3. It's got to be top 3.
Because here's the deal. The Lions were on their heels. They were on their heels. You had an opportunity.
Because worst case scenario, it would have been a field goal.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
They went to overtime.
And all you want to do is give your team a chance to win. That's how you give them a chance to win, is taking advantage of a situation that is in your favor. And then at that very moment in time, Matt Eberflus, he failed his team. That is absolute failure of a coach and a coaching staff failing their team. Their team did exactly what they were supposed to do. They put themselves in a situation to win, and the coach let them down. That is the one thing I will say when it comes down to coaching, why it matters. That is the number one reason why it matters. You prepare your guys, you train them, you get them ready every week. And all you ask of them is to be ready and try to take advantage of situations, those moments, right? And last week when I said it on the show, I said, that's what football is all about. It's about moments. And in that very moment, that coach who does not have on a helmet, who does not have on pads, who's not getting tackled, who's not making big throws or none of that stuff, the only thing he has to do is sit on the sideline and make sure he's ready here. And he failed that. He was absolutely not ready. That
was horrible. Like, that's one of the worst things I've seen in a football game in a long time. Because I'm sitting here like, what? Why isn't he calling a timeout?
We were sitting down eating.
There was 34 seconds. There was 34 seconds by the time that first play ended, and the clock was still running. There was 34 seconds left.
Yeah.
He let that clock go from 34 seconds to 0 in field goal range with a timeout.
Absolutely horrible.
That is a fireable offense right there. I'm sorry. You get fired. You get fired off some shit like that, bro. Now, I wouldn't say that with Andy Reid if he was to do some shit like that, because Andy Reid has a
history of winning. He has a history
of winning. So it's different when it comes to like the level of coaching does matter in these situations in terms of somebody getting fired. But this dude ain't did jack shit. You know what I'm saying? And you do this. Your ass is out the door. You got to go.
You got to go at that point. If I'm the GM, I'd be scared for my job as well. I'd be like, I hired this motherfucker. Oh, I know they can beat me. But
honestly,
that's a move.
Well, they was trying to blame. Well, I was just gonna say I've seen people trying to blame Caleb as well. But here's the thing. I wouldn't necessarily say he probably some blame, but not a lot. Because here's the thing: in the heat of the moment, when you're trying to get something done and you're trying to hurry up and get everybody set and call a play, at times I get it. You might not be looking at the clock. You're just trying to hurry up. You know the clock is ticking, but you're trying to hurry up. But you would think if you're the quarterback, your coaching staff would. That's what the coaching staff is there for.
But they're
supposed to be there to help you in those kind of situations when you don't always have it there to think about stuff like that. The coaches are supposed to be like, oh, we need to call a timeout right here. Yeah. That's the coach's job. That's what they're there for.
Well, and here's the one thing. Yes, I will agree to an extent that Caleb could have called a timeout on his own. He could have.
Right. He could have. Yeah, I agree.
Here's the one thing that you have to remember. He's trusting his coaching staff. He's trusting his coach. His coach let him down. Because if the coach
he's probably thinking because if he's probably thinking his coach is not calling it time, he's probably thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna just keep. Obviously, we're not in that dire of a situation, so if he's not calling the timeout, I'm assuming that he probably thinks that they got more time than they think than he probably thought they did.
And even if he didn't, they're not going to get rid of Caleb Williams. He's a fucking rookie.
Exactly.
They're not going to get rid of him.
He's the future of their franchise. They're not going to get rid of him.
So what are we talking about? Blaming Caleb Williams? Okay, fine. You want to blame him for not taking the timeout? Okay, but think about it. He's trusting his coaching staff. He's trusting his coach. He's wanting to make sure that he's not going to do something that maybe the coach had a plan for.
Right, exactly. But that's why it's on the coaching staff.
Exactly.
That's right on the money because, the coaching staff, that was terrible. I would have fired everybody.
Utterly horrible. And let's be honest.
The offensive staff got to go.
It's got to go. Hey, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the fuck out of here. You can't be here.
And this is the thing, like, Caleb Williams is not having a bad year, though. Like,
no,
it could be better, but it's not horrible, though.
But I expect this from a rookie. This is
like 14 touchdowns, only 5 picks. He's got 2,600 yards. Like,
I expect
his completion percentage isn't that great, but I mean,
but he's a rookie, and so we expect that from a rookie. And on top of that, Matt Eberflus as a rookie quarterback, You got to understand that this is your rookie quarterback. He's the future of your franchise, and you want to have a future there as well. Call your fucking timeouts. This goes out to every fucking coach that's in a situation where maybe the team's not doing well. You haven't looked good over the past couple of seasons or even this season, right? And you don't want to be in the same situation as Matt Eberflus. You better get your shit together. You better get your shit together.
And it's the common sense stuff. Like, that's a common sense thing.
That's common sense thing. And the thing is that these franchises have been bad for a long time. So they get into these ruts where they can't get out of it. And these are the reasons why, because they make bad hires, especially at GM positions and at coaching positions. Those are bad hires. Speaking of bad GM positions, the New York Giants. How are you?
You heard me say. You heard what I said yesterday when we was watching the game, right?
Exactly.
So let me get this straight. So you re-signed. Wait, what happened first? They re-signed Daniel Jones first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is what I don't get. So you re-signed Daniel Jones to this huge contract, and then I believe if I believe right, the next year is when they needed to sign Saquon. Yeah,
they needed to sign Saquon.
So you let Saquon walk, and
they let him go look. He was a free agent. They let him look.
Yeah, you let him walk in order to keep Daniel Jones, who you just cut. Make that make sense.
You just cut the same dude you gave that money to.
Mate, bro, you look, I get the quarterback position is very important. It starts at the quarterback position. I get it. But Daniel Jones hasn't done anything to warrant him being a priority over Saquon Barkley, because Saquon Barkley was one of the best running backs at his position.
Let me ask you something.
Daniel Jones was never that at the quarterback position.
I've heard that same bullshit my whole life when it comes to football, that the QB is the most important position on the field. Let me ask you this. There was a team in Baltimore that won a Super Bowl title with one of the most dominant defenses in the fucking league. It had one of the best running backs in the fucking league at that time. And their quarterback was not that great.
You talking about Jamal Lewis?
Yes.
So okay, let me rephrase that.
Offense, it's not just you, but it's this is why I'm saying this. The most talented offensive player on that field for the Baltimore Ravens when they won that Super Bowl.
It was Jamal Lewis.
It was Jamal Lewis, and it's not just them. And the player that wasn't the most talented, but just had to make sure he did his job, not turn the ball over, control the game as far as managing it, was Trent Dilfer.
But I think that's important, though.
It is important. But he's not the best. No, you can. We've seen it happen.
Who was the quarterback? I can't remember.
Trent Dilfer.
It was Trent Dilfer. Okay, that's what I thought. But now Trent Dilfer wasn't like. He wasn't
trash. He wasn't trash, but he wasn't the best player.
Daniel Jones is not good.
Exactly. He wasn't the best player on the field.
But I don't think I wasn't necessarily saying that the quarterback position has to be the best.
You said he's the most important. He's the most important. Okay, ask yourself this. Do the Ravens win that Super Bowl? Or are they even in contention to be a Super Bowl participant without Jamal Lewis?
I mean, probably not, because
probably not. Now,
because
ask yourself this.
That's how they ran their offense. Like, their offense was running the ball.
And the only reason you can do that successfully is if you have a very good offensive line, but you have a dynamic running back who can hit those holes, who's hard to bring down, who gets yards after fucking after contact. You have to understand that Trent Dilfer.
Okay, yes, so look,
as good as he was at managing the game, they're still not going to go to a Super Bowl. Exactly. Saquon Barkley, same situation.
I agree. Okay, so look, I agree. Look. I've been saying the way that the NFL has been treating, not the wide receivers are fine, right? I think wide receivers have a good, they're in terms of how the NFL values them.
Yeah.
Out of all the skill positions, they're number one, obviously.
Yeah.
But the way that the NFL has been devaluing the running back position I always been saying that it's BS because those dudes, I actually think they get it the worst out of all the positions because
They
those dudes
do.
are the ones going through. They're going through the trenches. They're getting hit the most. I mean, and then on
Yeah,
top of that, you can't, it's not just about run. They have to do the most because you got to block. You got to be able to catch the ball at the backfield. It's a
yep.
whole thing when it comes to being a running back. So I'm glad that the running back position is getting back to being a focal point in offenses now. Because, man, for the past, like 5 to 10 years ish, man, people been shitting on running backs, talking about they don't deserve to get paid this much and you don't draft a running back in this round and, stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, I remember, like you just brought up Jamal Lewis, in that era, the running
Yeah.
backs that was the thing, was to get a fucking stud running back in the first and second, third round.
Well,
Like the running backs were very important to the offenses back then. Like at one point in the league, it was a running back league. You had to
exactly.
have a running back. You had to. It wasn't like when Jamal Lewis and them was playing, bro. Them dudes was freaking tanks, bro. Bro,
And
that
that's
dude ran for like it's like Derrick Henry, right? Imagine people keep talking about Derrick Henry's physical ability and how much he takes,
exactly.
the pounding and stuff like that. Now imagine 10 or 15 of them and all playing at the same time, because that's what was happening. You had running backs that was getting 230, 300 carries a year, and they were the focal point of the offenses. And they did that throughout their career. It wasn't like it was just a one-off. You had a whole bunch of Derrick Henry type in terms of durability, being a workhorse. Like the workhorse back is not a thing right now. The only one that's really doing that is Derrick Henry. And I guess you could say Saquon to a certain degree, but
Pretty
not
much.
as much. Yeah, I mean, this year I would say he's definitely doing that this year. And then Kareem, kind of, because they've been giving the ball to Kareem a lot too. But you don't see that workhorse back like that no more. They usually try to spell backs with having like two, like how they do in Detroit. They do the two back thing so they can kind of, preserve their running backs a little bit more. But I'm glad that the running backs is getting the love that they deserve, man. I think Saquon especially, and even Derrick Henry, are very important to those teams and how they run their offenses, man. Because I don't think the Eagles are even close to what they are without freaking Saquon Barkley, especially.
Now here's the
thing. He is
thing.
their offense.
Here's the thing. So just like I said with them, and I wanted to make sure, so I was checking up on something real quick. But just like with them, with that Baltimore Ravens team, you had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2003. Brad Johnson was not a great quarterback. He was not a great quarterback, right? But they had a great defense. They had good pieces around him on the offensive side, with Keyshawn Johnson, Jamel Cooks, as far as that goes. So they had good pieces. But they did not, the most important position on the field to them, they'll say, Mike Allstott was on that team. They'll say that, well, I don't even know if Mike Allstott was on that team in 2003. Was he?
He was on there.
Okay.
But he retired in 2006.
Okay.
So yeah, he was there.
So with that being said, they had all these pieces around Brad Johnson, but they made sure that they didn't necessarily put the game in Brad Johnson's hand when it was on the line. With a guy like Saquon, you can do that. You can do that. Because even if they shut the running game down, what the one thing that Saquon can do that, let's say, Derrick Henry is not very good at doing?
Pass game.
You can put him in the pass game.
And he can legit be a receiver too.
Exactly.
Put him in a route. Yeah,
and so when I look at this situation with bad GMs and bad franchises, and I look at them and I say, what happened with Chicago is not a one-off. This is a situation that's been going on for years with these organizations, and they keep making the same mistakes. They keep making these same mistakes by hiring these bad coaches or bad GMs, and these GMs think they're gonna recreate reinvent the wheel or some shit like that. It doesn't happen, right? You gotta come in and get a good sound-minded fucking GM, and that GM's gotta make good decisions based upon what he has available to him, right? And if he doesn't have it, he tries to make trades, either in the draft or in free agency. And if you can't make those trades, or they're gonna put you in a worse position as far as the cap goes, then you deal with what you have. You try to make the most out of it. You develop your young players. I mean, this is not a one-off. This is something that everybody has to do. You develop your young players to get them better, to put you in a better position, and then you try to go from there. But these damn guys, I swear to God, what I seen yesterday, it was uncalled for. It was the most idiotic thing I've ever seen. And I hate it for Chicago Bear fans, because this is a franchise, a storied franchise on top of that, a storied franchise in history that has now fallen upon these kind of times because of bad management. And I'm going to be honest with you, even worse, ownership. Because the ownership is the reason why this guy, the GM, even had a job, and that GM hired this damn, this damn coach. Now, I get it. The GM that's there is up underneath the tutelage of Brett Veach. And I'm not saying he's bad, but this was a bad decision. This was a bad decision. This coach was not ready. He was not the person that should have been in that position. And you can tell by the decision that the coach made by not making a timeout or calling a timeout.
But here's my thing. And like, I get what you're saying, but like, as a GM, how can you call somebody not calling a call like that? It's not like he did something that was like, he was put in a situation where it was like, man, what do I do? Like he's taking a gamble or something. This is a common sense call, bro. You call the timeout. The 15-year-old on Madden would have called a timeout if he was in that situation. I'm being so serious,
you're
bro.
You're so right, though, and that's what's funny about this.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
we all know these things.
But the GM, the GM is probably like, bro, come on, man.
And the GM probably understands that this was he made a mistake in hiring this guy, because he's looking at it. He's probably looking at it going, what in the entire fuck did you just do?
That made no sense. Because as a GM, you don't hire somebody thinking they would be put in a situation like that, and they just completely fumble it and trick it off like that.
That was a meltdown. That was a complete meltdown. Yeah, and what's funny about this is that I've gotten so many people that said something, because I was in a chat last night, and one of the guys said to me, "So, but you're a Chief fan. Why does it matter to you? Why do you care so much?" Here's the number one thing I'll say.
It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's football. We like football.
It's football, right? That's number one. We love football. Number two, I really am tired of the narrative that's being pushed about the Chiefs and their close calls with teams that they should be blowing out and all this other bullshit, right? And it was nice to see Detroit have that same kind of situation.
Said nothing.
And ain't nobody said shit. I just noticed
that. Ain't nobody said shit.
Nobody said a damn thing about that. And I get it.
Yeah, they talk more. They talk more about those games. The Chiefs have won the close games, and they do talk about the Ravens losing to the Raiders, the Browns, and who else did they just lose to?
Yeah. Who else did they lose?
What was the other team?
I can't remember.
Was the Bengals?
The Bengals.
Was it the Bengals? I can't remember, honestly.
I can't remember. But yes, you're right.
But I'm just saying, they talk about them our wins and how close they are versus talking about somebody losing to mediocre teams. That doesn't even make sense to me.
And so when I look at this and I'm seeing them, I'm like, okay, look, nobody said anything about Detroit struggling yesterday against the Chicago Bears team, a team that's,
and they're just as bad as probably the Panthers are.
Yeah, they haven't been very good. They have not been very good. But nobody said anything about Detroit struggling against this team, right? So I think the narrative kind of sucks, because we have to listen to this shit every day. And I get it. I get it. We're the champs, and we have been the champs for a while.
Hey, look.
And that's what
You
people are
already
going
know
to
what
do.
I'm
They're going to
gonna
hate
say.
on them. What?
I want keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. Please. I've been saying this for years. I told you, even when we started last year.
Yeah.
Because we were in a worse position than we were last year, or last year than we are now.
Yeah, we had lost some
At this
games.
point of the season.
Yeah, we had lost
quite a few games.
Yeah.
So, you know what I always said? I said, one thing I'm not going to do with the pedigree that they've showed us the past, at the time, 5 years, 6 years? The Chiefs aren't out until they're officially out. I will never count them out until I see it with my own eyes. Keep doubting, and this is the thing I believe. I truly believe the Chiefs they persevere when they're doubted. That's why they're able to come back in Super Bowls every time they go when they're down 10 points and come back and win. But it's because of the doubt. It feeds them. I don't know what it is about Mahomes when he's down in a goddamn Super Bowl in the first half or the second half. For whatever reason, he comes back and he wins those motherfuckers every single time. The only time you can't argue that he didn't was against Tampa Bay, obviously.
In the Super Bowl.
For obvious reasons. Yeah, in the Super Bowl.
And just so you,
even in the playoff games, even in the regular playoff games, when they're down, for whatever reason, they get a kick out of what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? They get a kick out of being in danger of losing, and it just
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is. I've never seen anything like it, to be honest with you.
No.
And the Chiefs have been the underdog in every Super Bowl
they've
been in. I want y'all to think about
every
that.
Super Bowl, we've been the underdog.
And I hope they're the underdog. I hope they're the underdog again.
With that being said, if you guys have not hit that subscribe button, or you're just, new to the channel and you're just now discovering us, hit that subscribe button. All we tell people whenever they come on this show, or they see us, or they view our channel for the first time, is simple as this: subscribe, hit the notification bell. That lets you guys know whenever we put out new content, it will get that straight to you guys immediately. We do this every week. We're doing it a little bit earlier this week. Like I said, the Chiefs are going to be playing today. You guys will probably see this after the game is over with. It'll probably be Friday or Saturday before this comes out. And I mean, Saturday anyway before this comes out. And on top of that, come and join us, have some laughs, get insight from, fans just like yourselves, because that's all we are, is just fans. And on top of that, we'd love to get more comments and basically ask some more questions. We'd love to do a show around one of your questions. So, but if you haven't, hit that like and subscribe button. And we like to, make this to where more people are involved. But one of the things, Mike, I was going to say, and you said this, these close games that the Chiefs have, you got to think about this. The playoffs are not blowouts mostly. They're close games. They're close games.
Bro, the Super Bowl, they literally won on the last second play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're close games. So the Chiefs actually are doing themselves a favor by playing in games like this, and a lot of games like this, because what it does is it teaches them in a situation like this that, hey, when they get to this point, and it's a close game, they know how to respond. They know how to play in these tight games.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about what you said? So the defense has been struggling the last about 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yep.
Now everybody was talking about the Chiefs' offense, and this is why I always say the Chiefs be playing mind games with us, because all of a sudden they scoring 30 points a game once the defense ain't been playing that good. That can't be a coincidence. There's no way. They weren't scoring. They were averaging 25 points a game.
Yeah.
They hadn't got over. I think they got 27 one time.
Yeah.
In that span, and then the last 3 games they've scored 30 straight.
Yeah.
In 3 straight games, out of nowhere.
But nobody's talking about that. Have you noticed that nobody's talking about?
And the offense looks completely. Yeah, the offense looks completely different as well.
Yeah, I'm sure hoping today though we get a chance to see Pop in a couple carries. I really do. I want to see how well he looks with that. Coming off back from that surgery and that broken leg. I really want to see how he looks. I think that him being back on the sideline is just going to be an energizer, man. It's just going to.
Well, they don't have because they haven't ruled out. They haven't taken anybody off and
Yeah.
rolled them to the practice squad.
Yeah, I
There's going to
noticed
be
that.
4 running backs
Yeah.
active.
Yeah. Well, is Clyde even scheduled to make an appearance yet?
No, he's still not. He's still not cleared or anything.
Okay.
They had him off. I don't think he's on the IR or the little thing that they had him on anymore.
Yeah.
But he's. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think he's coming back the rest of the season at this point.
Well, let me ask you this, because with all that being said, we got a chance to clinch the playoff spot.
Right.
So we have a chance to clinch because Miami lost last night. All we have to really do is win. If for some godforsaken reason we don't win today, we just need the Chargers to lose and the Broncos to lose their next game to clinch. But no matter what, we could be clinching today our playoff spot, right? That's not including, the number 1 position in the AFC. Now, we have all this going on with the AFC. One of the games that was not talked about was the AFC matchup between the Ravens and the Chargers. And I'm going to be honest with you. The Chargers, they look like they struggled a little bit too, though.
But man, I'm gonna be okay. Look, I just want to add this one thing. People love talking about how bad Sky Moore is. And look, I'm not gonna argue with you because he hasn't been good.
But he ain't been playing either.
That's true.
Yeah.
I agree. Quentin Johnston is 10 times worse.
Hey, let me ask you something. You remember when we had this conversation? And Dorian was talking about how, y'all sleeping on Quentin Johnson. I said, no, we're not. I said, no, we're not. I said, that was before he got drafted. I said, no, he's not. He's not as good. He had a great season at TCU. He had a great career there. I'll give him that. But that guy.
But even then, he was doing the same shit he's doing now.
Yeah, he was not.
Dropping passes.
I don't think he was as good as everybody made him out to be. That's why
that little slant he did when he was going to the sideline, when Justin threw it to him and he dropped it, that was a touchdown.
That's a touchdown.
And him dropping that pass completely changed the game because that very next drive they scored again.
Yeah, sure.
The game was over.
Game was over pretty much. Yeah, I think that
terrible.
I think that's the thing, and you got to look at that AFC matchup right there, and you think to yourselves, okay, that's the AFC West up against the AFC North. Is it Central? AFC? I can't remember which one it was. AFC North.
It's North.
Okay.
It's AFC North.
All right. So the AFC North. So you've got not Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and the Ravens essentially have the same record now. They're both 8-4, if I'm correct. So if they're both essentially have the same record.
No, Steelers are 8-3.
I thought they lost their 4th game the other day.
That was their 3rd game.
Okay, so that was their 3rd game.
They were 7-2 before.
That's right. I remember that now. Okay, so
they're half Pittsburgh is number 1.
Yeah, they're half game up on Pittsburgh.
The Ravens.
Or on the Ravens because they won their head-to-head matchup.
Right.
Okay. For some reason, I completely forgot that. Excuse me, YouTube. I'm sorry. I'm old. You have to forgive me. So,
and what's funny, real quick? People was talking about how the AFC West was bad.
They're not
how y'all
bad.
like them apples?
Yeah, they're not
The
bad.
only one that's bad is the Raiders.
Yeah,
everybody else is in playoff contention.
Denver is in playoff contention. The Chargers are in
still
playoff contention. We know the Chiefs are. The only team that's not is the Raiders. And I actually think the Raiders could actually be good if they had a really solid quarterback. He didn't have to be great, but solid. Gardner Minshew, I'm going to be honest with you. He was trying to do the best he can, but he's not a starting QB in this league. He's a backup. That's what he is. He's a backup QB. They need a solid QB. And maybe they'll get a chance to get one in the draft. Somebody that can grow with Brock Bowers, who is, I'll be honest with you, a fucking stud of a fucking tight end. Brock Bowers.
You know who else is good? on the not the Raiders, but on the Chargers, who I told y'all was also going to be good.
Yes, we
Oh,
know.
I'll wait.
Lad McConkey.
I meant to get on. I meant to get on Dorian about that. Y'all, he tried to tell me he was going to be a nobody.
No, I
Oh
kind of
yeah,
agree with you.
he's the best receiver. He's the best receiver the Chargers have, and it's not even close.
I do remember you saying that, and I did kind of agree with you that he's an excellent route runner. I think shifty, got good hands. Yeah, I like Lad McConkey.
He's nice.
He is nice. As a rookie, he's actually done a lot of nice things, and he's just going to get better. He's just going to get better. So
I tried to tell y'all that people don't be. I need to be a GM or something. Somebody need to hire me. Assistant GM, something.
Here's my question to you: with everything that's going on in the playoff picture, it's kind of lining up a little bit. It's not all the way there, but you're kind of seeing, how some things could shake out. Who's the one team in the NFC that you think people are not talking about enough that they should be talking about? I'm going to ask the audience that. If you guys see this, who's the one team in the NFC you think that teams or people are not talking about enough, but they should? Mike, what's your...
man. Honestly... NFC West, I don't think any of them. At first, the Cardinals was kind of, I was like, they're kind of creeping, but then they kind of dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe the Packers. The Packers are, they're pretty, they got some nice young talent.
I think Jordan Love is nice.
Yeah, I would say the Vikings as well, but like, I gotta see it in the playoffs with the quarterback situation. That's the really, because they got the pieces. I think they got a pretty decent defense. They got the weapons, and they're 9-2. So I mean, but everybody else is kind of like the Eagles. We already know the Eagles are gonna be they're gonna be in the playoff.
Yeah.
Commanders are kind of, I don't know.
They've lost their last, 3 games now?
Yeah.
They have.
Yeah.
They've kind of taken that
They should be, they should be at least like 8-3 right now, minimum. They're 7-5 right now.
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest.
I mean, they're still in the hunt.
They're still in the hunt.
But I don't know. I don't think there's enough experience. I don't know if there's enough experience there.
I think you were.
It's probably the Packers.
I think you were probably on the money. I think it's the Packers, and I really like the Packers because of their offensive weapons that they have at wideout, with the addition of Josh Jacobs, who is running like a. I mean, nobody's talking about this guy at running back because you hear all the time about.
He's the third.
Saquon Barkley or
yards in the league right now.
Yeah, you hear all the time about Saquon Barkley, you hear all the time about Derrick Henry, but nobody's talking about Josh Jacobs and the job he's doing up there. And Josh Jacobs is just quietly, but chugging along, getting touchdowns. They're doing everything. They're gone. They've turned into a power running team.
Yeah, he's at 987 yards right now.
Yeah, so he's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. And they've got those pieces around him. They got a pretty good couple of tight ends. They got an excellent receiving core, excellent young receiving core. And I like what they're doing in Green Bay. I think Green Bay is one of those teams that you got to look out for. And I'm saying this because I want people to understand this. Yes, they may have lost to Detroit already this year. I think you got to understand that the reason why I think that they probably didn't play as well in that game is because Jordan Love was just coming back from an injury. He hadn't really got his feet up underneath him. But I also think that Green Bay can beat Detroit. They have the weapons to do it on the offensive side, and they have the defense to do it.
I don't think Detroit's their secondary. Man, if you got the right receivers, bro, they can be beat straight up.
Yep.
And they don't have I think Zadarius was a good pickup, obviously, but their defensive line, they're not bad, but man, they can be had though. I I don't think their defense is as good as what people make it seem. To be honest with you, their
I
defense is
think they
kind of.
cover up. I think they cover up a lot of stuff because I think if you think about it, Aiden Hutchinson was their best front lineman, right? He was their best defensive lineman. He was the guy who put a lot of pressure on QBs, and he was having an excellent year up until the injury. Excellent year up until the injury.
Right.
And Za'Darius brings a different kind of feel to the defensive line, but it's not the same. They can't use him the same way they used Aiden because Aiden is a speed rusher. You know, he's that great mixture of speed and power that you don't see a lot of times, right? I think Green Bay actually can beat Detroit. Now, will that happen here, you know, within the next couple weeks? Possibly. They'll have a matchup, so, you know, it's possible. But I think that Green Bay has shown that they can play with the big boys.
They play them next week.
Oh, is it next week? I thought it was the week after.
Yeah, it's the next game. They play them the next game.
Well, never mind.
It's on Prime. It's on Prime too.
Oh, hey, let's be honest. Prime has had some excellent games. If you don't have Prime, I have Prime. I love Prime, especially on Thursday Night Football. Let me tell you, if you don't have Prime, you need to be getting on Prime because I think the games are just going to get better. They're getting a bunch of good games. And on top of that, the service as far as what you're getting, the 4K,
you get multiple camera angles.
The multiple camera angles, all that stuff, it's well worth it. It's well worth it. So if you don't have Prime, y'all need to give me a sponsorship, man. Y'all need to give me a sponsorship. I shout y'all out all the time. If you don't have don't have Prime, you need to get it. It's well worth it. Thursday Night Football Prime. Love it.
Hit us up, man.
Yeah,
Bezos, hit us up.
Yeah, I don't think he's in charge no more, but I mean, yeah. But
is he not?
Well, you know, he's not. He's not on the board. I mean, he's on the board. He owns 50-something%, 51% of the company still, but he's got a board now. You know, he's not doing that everyday task. You know. But I will say this: if you don't have Prime, please get it. You'll thank me later. Trust me. They've had some excellent games. Speaking of that, Kansas City will be playing against the Raiders today, 2:00 Eastern Time, 3 p.m. 2:00 Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Prime. So, there's been some excellent games, and I will say this: I'm looking forward to seeing how well the Green Bay Packers match up against Detroit again. And like I said, these are rivalry games. They're same division. You know, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have teams like this who are going to battle head to head. And quiet as kept, that NFC North with Green Bay, Detroit, and Minnesota all having winning seasons. You could see, you know, 3 teams come out of that NFC North. You never know. You never know. I would think that it may take, you know, it may take some doing, but I think it can happen. So, but
okay. So, oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say just a little side note. I looked it up, and he only owns about 10% of Amazon right now as a shareholder.
Yeah,
but that 10% is worth $166 billion.
So basically, he sold off
10%.
He sold off everything. He sold off his assets.
Well, a lot of it,
a lot of his shares.
Yeah, a lot of it.
So Bezos
is all spread out.
Yeah,
it's all spread out to a bunch of people.
Yeah, so Bezos, don't hit us up. Whoever is in charge there, y'all.
He is the largest. He is the largest shareholder there.
He is the largest shareholder.
I could be. It does say that.
Oh well, then hit us up. I've gone back and forth now. I've gone back and forth now like 3 times.
Hey man,
whoever's in charge, hit us up. Shit, no,
somebody.
But we've got a bunch of good games still left to be played this weekend. If you haven't, you know, like I said, Prime, it is excellent. I do enjoy it. And right now, with everything going on, especially in the NFL season, there's a lot of things that, you know, we don't talk about, you know, when it comes to every team and things to that nature. But there could still be some moves made by a team, you know, saying, hey, look, I mean, I don't know about you, Mike, but there's a team up in New York who got rid of a quarterback, and there is a quarterback out there who got big money a couple years ago, and he could be on his way to another team. Possibly
what quarterback you talking about?
Daniels.
Oh, I heard about
Daniel.
Okay, you asked me about that yesterday. I think the team they was talking about him going to was the Vikings.
Yeah, he could be. He could be going somewhere else. Another team in New York who pretty much is sitting their quarterback for the rest of the season, Aaron Rodgers. He needs to
retire.
He does need to retire.
It's over with.
I think he's probably done. I don't think the Jets bring him back next year. Do you think they bring him back next year? I don't either. I don't think they bring him back next year. I think that they're at the point where they're like, okay, this was an experiment. The first year absolutely failed because he got hurt, and now that he's
I gotta say this. I gotta say this about the Jets. Y'all are a dog shit organization. Straight up. I want to say I'm saying this because they don't even use Brees.
No, they don't.
What the hell? Send him to KC. God damn it.
We can't have every running back.
Yes, we can.
No, we can't.
Yeah, we can. Not this year, but I'm talking about like
who
next
we gonna
year.
get rid of? Who we gonna get rid of?
I mean, Kareem is not on a contract.
You really want to get rid of Kareem?
For Brees Hall? Yes. What are you talking about? What? Yes. Look, I love Kareem. Kareem is the big one. He used to be.
Is the big
one. Listen. I love Kareem. You know I love Kareem. He'll be 30 next year. He'll be 30 next year.
That's hard for me to hear somebody say. We just got
Brees Hall. Listen,
yes, and I trust me. I love Brees because Brees is a hometown kid right here in the WK, Wichita, Kansas. If y'all don't know, that's where we're from. And I love Brees. I would love to have him on the team, but I don't really want to get rid of Kareem. And I get mine is more sentimental value because of how I look at Kareem and how I've always been like that with Kareem. Even when he was with the Browns, I loved Kareem. But if I'm being honest, yes, I understand the move and why you would make it. And on top of that,
I don't think they're going to do it.
No, and on top of that, I do like the fact of the hometown kid coming back to Wichita or to Kansas, and being closer to home to be able to play for that area's team, right? That is our team in this area. And I think that would be fucking amazing to see him in red and gold. I really do.
I don't think it'll happen. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen. I mean, it'll be his fourth year next year. They'll probably franchise tag him or whatever they do. But they have the fifth-year option.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was a first-round pick. He was not a first-rounder.
Yeah, I don't think
he was a third-rounder, I think.
Yeah. So
I mean, it just depends. We don't know what's going to happen with Pacheco either. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was talking about running backs just real quick. This is why I've been telling you, I really do want the Chiefs to try to get somebody that is a home run hitter that can make those kind of plays like Saquon and get in the open field and take off for a fucking 75-yard touchdown. We need somebody like that. I still like Carson Steele.
Yeah.
He's still young, but he's more of a power running back.
Yeah, he's not a home run threat.
Yeah. And I still want to keep him. I still want him on the team. I just think they need that versatility with the running backs as far as speed and having that threat to when a dude gets the ball in his hands, he's a threat to getting that end zone. So,
hey, listen, you know what? The Brees would be a home run hitter though. Brees is a home run hitter. If he has good blocking, he can be a home run hitter. And we all know this. And man, just thinking about it though. Now that you said it, man, how cool would it be to see him in a fucking Chiefs uniform?
I'm telling you,
it would be so.
Like I said, I don't think it'll happen because I think they'll keep him. But I don't know if you've seen, but did you see Ashton Jinty's comments about the Chiefs? He said because he was saying about teams getting him what team he would get drafted to and stuff like that. And he was like, man, if I was to play with Mahomes, we would be winning, Super Bowls all the time. He literally said that.
Oh wow!
And I think, and look, it's hard to say. Like I think obviously his stock will go up if he wins the Heisman.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be a first round pick. It's kind of iffy with running backs because you just never know.
True, very true. I
But
mean, we could
Ashton
always.
Jeanty, Ashton Jeanty would be a problem
Okay, so
in this offense, bro.
here's the
Oh
question.
my
If you
god.
had a choice, and we're just doing this. This is just we're not. This is the kind
For
of shit
fun,
that
just for
this
fun.
this is the kind of shit me and my son do when we start talking about sports. So just bear with us. So if you had a choice between Travis Hunter and Ashton Jeanty in the draft, who would you pick? I knew I was gonna get you with this one.
That's a tough one, bro.
Yeah, I knew I was gonna
I
get you with
don't
this one.
know. Okay, so look, I'm gonna be honest. Travis Hunter is amazing. I think the fact that he can do both. Now I don't know if he's gonna do that in the NFL. I don't think like if he was going to the Chiefs, Reed not doing that. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Reed's not gonna let him
I don't know. Reed's been known
do
to do
both.
shit. He's been known to do shit like that.
I mean, he might let him do it time to time, but it wouldn't be like you gonna be a.
Okay, well,
I don't
listen,
know.
listen. That's
Look,
not
I'm gonna
answering
be
the
honest with you
question.
though.
That's not
Okay,
answering the
hold on.
question.
I'm not done. I'm not done. Honestly, I would go with G. I would go with JT.
You
The
would go with
reason why
JT.
is because you already have this. The reason why I say that is because you kind of already have a Travis Hunter kind of player with
True.
Worthy, slimmer, fast, a good route runner. Now, obviously, Worthy's not playing cornerback. I get that part of it. But in terms of receiver, which is what they're gonna mainly use him for, you kind of already had that. Plus, you still have Rice. Rice is gonna come back.
He's gonna come back, but
You don't have.
we don't know how long he's gonna have to sit out next year, though.
Well, yeah, I get that, and I do think they're gonna draft a receiver. Probably. I think they will.
I'm gonna be
That's
honest
for
with
instance.
you.
I'm gonna go with GT because think about it, Dad. But I don't think people realize how good this dude is, and I get it. He's playing at Boise State,
Yeah.
but if you watch the film, his vision, and that's what most impresses me is his vision.
Yeah.
His vision is amazing, and that if you have that dynamic running back, I don't think people. We see it with Saquon, bro. Derrick Henry. If you have a dynamic running back, I don't think people realize how much pressure that takes off the entire offense, especially the quarterback.
How big
And
is Jeanty?
Mahomes, 5'11", like 220 something pounds or something like that.
It's not a bad size.
So he's got good size.
Yeah, it's not a bad size
And
running
Mahomes,
back.
and this is one thing. This is one thing Mahomes has never had: a dynamic running back. Pacheco is good,
Yeah.
but he's not an elite. He's not in that elite level.
Can you imagine?
I think Jeanty can be an elite level running back. Bro.
Could you
With
imagine?
Reed?
Could you imagine if Patrick Mahomes had a prime Jamal Charles on his team?
That's what I'm saying.
Ooh, boy.
And that's why I wanted. Hey, that's why I wanted Gibbs on the Chiefs so bad. Because you remember when I was talking about Gibbs that year?
Yeah.
I was like, man, he reminds me of Jamal Charles so much, bro. He still do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would personally. I would take Jeanty.
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, and I'm gonna say I would take Travis Hunter, and the main reason why is because of this. You don't really have any wide receivers under contract next year besides Worthy and Rice, and you could lose all.
What if they keep Hopkins though?
It's a possibility. But you won't really be able to find that out until after the draft.
He's not going nowhere.
He might not. He may not. He might wind up staying.
Especially if they win.
But how good would it be? How good would it be if you had a guy who is athletically gifted as a Travis Hunter, who, if let's say D-Hop does stay, he can learn from the best hands guy as far as wide receivers go in the league.
I mean, but I agree with you. But my thing is, I do believe there's a such thing as too many great talent at one position.
There is.
Because then you would have
that is very true.
Because think about it, you would have Rice, because Rice is going to come back at some point.
True.
You would have Rice. You would still have Worthy, and let's say they get Travis Hunter, and then D-Hop would be there. And then obviously you're gonna have to fill that in with a couple here and there
Yeah.
off the practice squad.
But
I
you
don't
really
know.
don't. You
Who
really
knows?
don't have any other wide receivers under contract right now, as of the end of the year. Right at the end of the season, the only people you will have is Sky Moore, which I don't think he'll be there.
But here's another thing. But here's another problem though. One's more realistic at actually getting than the other. Because I think Travis Hunter's gonna be a
You're
top 10
right.
pick.
You're right. I think Travis
He's
Hunter.
way.
Do you think
because
he's
receivers are always going to be more
Do
valued.
you
They're going
do
to be
you
more
think
valued than the running backs are.
do you think Travis Hunter gets the number one pick in the draft? It depends. To me, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it depends on who's got the number one pick, because there's so many teams that are in need of a quarterback right now that I don't think he goes number one.
I don't think he goes past top 10 for sure. There's no way.
Yeah,
He's going past top 10.
yeah.
But yeah, I think GT's more realistic as far as like actually a possibility of them getting. But Travis Hunter, we would have to trade like 10 draft picks in order to move up.
Probably so.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I just wanted to ask that question. We had a couple of games that happened on Thanksgiving Day, and one of those games was the Green Bay Packers versus the Miami Dolphins, who, I'll be honest with you, they looked absolutely.
I'm gonna throw this out there too, just real quick.
What?
And Travis Hunter's great. Luther Burden from Missouri?
Oh yeah, Missouri. Yeah, that cat's nasty. Whoo. Yeah, he's nasty.
Nasty. And so is the dude from Arizona.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce his name. It's a weird name.
But you're right about those two guys. Very good.
Dude from Ohio State. Mika. Whatever the hell his name is.
So
he's a senior this year. Tez Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a lot. So
we had a couple of those games happen, and the Dolphins, like I said, Green Bay played the Dolphins, and Green Bay just way overpowered, way outmatched the Miami Dolphins. And then we had the Dallas Cowboys play the New York Giants, and the Dallas Cowboys now have a 2-game winning streak, just so everybody knows. So the boys are supposedly back. How should I say? Via Micah Parsons, who said we're coming, and I said to the couch, because that's exactly what
he need to come to the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying?
They for some reason he believes they have a shot at getting into the playoffs. No, you don't. I mean, if all hell froze over, and let's say the Washington Commanders lost every game going down the stretch, maybe, but I don't see it happening. You still have to worry about the Eagles. The Eagles will be the number one seed coming out of that division. So, but I don't see that happening. They're not gonna make it. So if you had any hopes, Cowboy fans, you might as well stop. Just come back to reality and think about this. You're not going to the playoffs this year. It's not going to happen. So I just don't believe that. I think, if you believe that, I got some oceanfront property in Idaho for sale. I'm willing to get rid of it at a great price. Anyway, we're going to be getting off of here. We want to say thank you to everybody who has tuned in. We kind of bullshitted here at the end, but we want to say thank you to everybody who's tuned in or who's chimed in before, people who have subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, please remember to hit that subscribe button. We're going to sit down. We're going to watch the Chiefs take on the Raiders, and we're going to, eat some more turkey and pumpkin pies and shit like that made us, sit in our chair and fall asleep. So we're going to do that. And I hope you guys continue to enjoy your holiday weekend. If you don't, or if you haven't, go back, check out some of our older content, and be on the lookout for us again. Another episode from the Cavecast next week. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you all enjoyed your holiday, and we'll catch you guys next time on the Cavecast.